Hello there, Brick Fanatics. There's something very interesting going on with LEGO 10330 McLaren MP4 and Ayrton Senna. Have a look at it. See if you can spot what might be controversial. Notice anything? How about this? Yes, it's problematic energy company Shell, back again after nearly 10 years of being completely absent from LEGO sets. This video, by the way, is not an attempt to editorialise or to pass judgment on this situation. We are not saying whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. We are simply saying, isn't it interesting that Shell is back, considering the ignoble way in which the LEGO Group and Shell initially ended their partnership. Shell indeed was one of the LEGO Group's very first commercial partners, going all the way back to 1966 when Shell logos debuted in LEGO sets, and oh boy, these are some fun looking old retro sets, it has to be said. These initial sets were only available in Europe, but eventually the LEGO Group and Shell's partnership expanded and sets featuring Shell were available worldwide, although at some point along the decades the LEGO Group did pivot to using the entirely fictional Octan Corporation as their primary energy company within LEGO sets. It was not until October of 2014, nearly 10 years ago now, that the LEGO Group announced that it would not be renewing its contracted partnership with Shell and that Shell would no longer appear in LEGO sets going forward. The circumstances around this, the LEGO Group wasn't best pleased with the way things played out, I think it's safe to say, and indeed the official statement from the LEGO Group does come across as somewhat irked by the entire situation. What, I hear you asking, was this awkward situation? It was Greenpeace. In July of 2014, Greenpeace posted a video on their YouTube channel which showed an enormous LEGO model of the Arctic being slowly coated in thick black oil. The message was part of a campaign attempting to convince the LEGO Group to sever their partnership with Shell, and ultimately this worked. The LEGO Group takes great pride in its commitment to the environment and to sustainability, which must be difficult given that the company's main product is derived from oil. Indeed, you can see why the LEGO Group and Shell were such good bedfellows from the start. This isn't an attempt to cast judgment, this is simply a statement of fact. The LEGO Group uses oil and Shell produces oil. This is simply how things work. In responding to Greenpeace's campaign against the Shell-LEGO partnership, the LEGO Group's official public statement does show something of the conflict at the heart of this issue. President and CEO of the LEGO Group Jørgen Vig Knudstrup had this to say, quote, "The Greenpeace campaign uses the LEGO brand to target Shell. As we have stated before, we firmly believe Greenpeace ought to have a direct conversation with Shell. The LEGO brand, and everyone who enjoys creative play, should never have become part of Greenpeace's dispute with Shell. The long-term co-promotion contract we entered with Shell in 2011 delivers on the objective of bringing LEGO bricks into the hands of many children, and we will honour it, as we would with any contract we enter. We continuously consider many different ways of how to deliver on our promise of bringing creative play to more children. We want to clarify that as things currently stand, we will not renew the co-promotion contract with Shell when the present contract ends." And that appeared to be that. There's been no new partnership between Shell and the LEGO Group since, and Shell no longer appears in LEGO sets. Until now. If Shell and the LEGO Group is a partnership that has always just made sense, then Shell and Formula One racing makes even more sense. Of course, fast cars need petrol, and petrol is Shell's business. Shell was one of the major sponsors of Ayrton Senna's successful Formula One career racing for McLaren before his untimely death in May of 1994. That Shell logo is a large part of the aesthetic of Senna's McLaren MP4, and it would indeed be a bit odd to see it without this sponsorship. However, there is another sponsorship that the LEGO Group has opted to remove entirely from this LEGO set, that of Marlboro. To look at Senna's McLaren MP4, the message is very clear. Fill your car up with petrol from Shell, yes, but then smoke like 20 Marlboro lights. Just look at that, you couldn't get the word Marlboro to be any bigger if you tried. It's just all over the car, on the front, on the back, on the sides, everywhere. I mean, I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, but looking at this car, is smoking cool? Disclaimer, smoking is not cool. Do not smoke. Don't vape either, that stuff's nasty. Again, all of this is not to cast judgment. We are not saying necessarily that this is a terrible thing, nor that this is actually fine. It's just interesting. It's interesting that the LEGO Group has opted to keep one logo belonging to a company that they have previously very publicly cut ties with due to a problematic public image, and at the same time remove the logo of another problematic company. It's interesting. But what do you think of the matter? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure, by the way, that you do all of the regular YouTube things and give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you're going to be making a purchase from lego.com in the near future, for example, say the McLaren MP4, then make sure that you use the QR code, which is currently on screen, or the affiliate link, which is down in the description. If you go through that, it just gives us a little bit of a kickback every time you make a purchase at the LEGO website. Make sure also that you go to brickfanatics.com for all of your LEGO news, reviews and more, and make sure that you sign up to our newsletter so that you never miss anything LEGO related ever again. Thank you for watching.